Have you ever needed to write or draw something, but the marker you're using looks faded and dried out? Rather than throwing the markers away when they stop working, there are a lot of things you can do to get a little more life out of them. Keep reading for all of the best ways you can revive dry erase. Permanent and water-based markers so the ink stays vibrant and easy to see. So, we are going to watch about the 3 ways to fix your dried out markers.
Method 1. Dry erase markers.
First is pull out and flip the marker nib if you need a quick fix. Pinch the soft felt nib with a pair of needle nose pliers and pull it straight out from the marker. Turn the nib 180 degrees so the part that was inside of the marker now points out. Then, carefully push the nib back into the end of the marker so it's ready to use again. This works best for dry erase markers that have a chisel-shaped nib. Work over a sink or put some paper towels down in case leftover ink comes out from the end of K marker. The ink will soak through the dried end of the tip again. So you can try flipping the nib if the marker ever dries out again. Step 2. Swing the marker on a piece of string to move the ink to the tip. Put the cap on your marker and make sure it's secured tightly. Wrap a piece of string or dental floss around the end of your marker. Secure the string with a piece of masking tape, leaving about 1 to 2 feet, 30 to 61 centimeters, of loose string. Hold on to the end of the string and spin the marker over your head like a lasso for 10 to 15 seconds. The force from spinning your marker will push all of the ink to the tip so you can get a little more life out of it. You may be able to get similar results just by shaking the marker in your hand. If you need to revive multiple dry erase markers, put them in a cup with the tip side down. Tape the string to the outside of the cup and quickly spin it around. The force from spinning the cup will keep the markers from falling out. Finally, add more ink to your marker if it's refillable. Get a dry erase ink refill for the color of your marker. Unscrew the tip from the main barrel of the marker and set it vertically on your table. Use a dropper to add the ink to the marker barrel until it's full. Screw the tip tightly back onto the marker. If your marker doesn't come apart, getting a new marker may be the best solution.
Method 2. Permanent and alcohol-based markers.
First is soak the tip of the marker in rubbing alcohol to reweight it. Fill a small bowl with 90% rubbing alcohol so you have enough to submerge the tip of your marker. Keep your marker vertical so the tip points down and dunk the tip in the alcohol. Leave the marker until you see the ink start to run in the liquid. Then, just take the marker out, put a cap on it, and let it sit for 15 minutes before using it again. Tape your marker to the edge of the bowl or lean it up against something so it stays upright. Step 2. Pour rubbing alcohol inside the marker to draw out leftover ink. Grip the end of the permanent marker just above the nib with a pair of needle nose pliers. Gently pull the tip off of the main barrel of the marker to expose the ink pad inside. Fill a dropper with your rubbing alcohol and squeeze a few drops into the opening at the end of K ink pad. Push the pieces of your marker back together and wait 1 to 2 minutes before using it again. Be careful handling the ink pad since it could get permanent marker ink on your skin. Finally, store your marker with the cap on and tip pointed down to keep it wet. Permanent markers and alcohol-based felt tip markers can dry out when you store them horizontally or upright with the tip face up. Put the caps tightly on your markers and set them with the tip down in a cup or pencil holder. That way, gravity pulls the ink to the nib so it's ready to use.
Method 3. Water-based markers.
First is dip the tip of the marker in warm water before using it to easily reweight the tip. Keep a small bowl of warm water near you whenever you need to use your markers. If the marker is dried out and not writing well, quickly dump the tip in warm water and shake off the excess. The water will help the ink move through the dry nib so it's easier to write with. This also works well for highlighters since they're water-based. When you're finished using your markers, dip the tips in the water for 5 seconds before putting the cap on them. Then wait 1 day before using them again. Step 2. Try spraying a glycerin solution on the nib for a quick refresher. Fill a small spray bottle with 1 part glycerin and 3 parts water. Spritz the tip of your marker with your glycerin solution right before you use it to help the ink move through the nib smoothly. Step 3. Pour water into the marker to reweight any leftover ink. Grip the nib with a pair of needle nose pliers and carefully pull it straight out from the end of the marker. Hold the marker vertically and splash a few drops of water into the barrel and onto the nib. Then, just push the nib back into the end of the marker and try using it again. Avoid completely filling the marker with water since it will dilute the ink and make it less visible. Finally, store the marker with the tip pointed down to revive the marker in 1 day. When you're finished using the marker, put the cap on tightly and put it in a cup or pencil holder so it stays vertical. After a day, gravity will help any of the remaining ink flow into the nib so you get a little extra life out of your markers.
We hope it is useful to you. Please subscribe to our channel to upskill yourself.